I may live to regret my life choices today. My goal today is to bring some life to this base. Now, it's quite lively already, as you can see. We have Happy Ghasts flying everywhere, and there's chickens, golems, and dogs, flying cows. But there's one thing missing in this base that has the potential to completely transform how this entire place operates. Ladies and gentlemen, I, of course, am referring to villagers. I've got quite a few of these guys in my employment office, and they've been here for months. I have not hired any of them specifically. They're still doing interviews, still waiting for placements, but I think it's finally time to let them free to wander around the base. Now, I'm just going to step outside for a moment where there's some peace and quiet. Today, what I'm doing is taking all those villagers, breeding many, many, many more, and releasing them to wander around, find gainful employment, and explore this big industrial base of mine, effectively turning my industrial base into an industrial town. Now, why might I live to regret this decision? Well, I mean, if you've dealt with villagers before, you know how they are. They kind of have a way of getting in the way a little bit, a lot sometimes, but I am willing to live with that because again, I really want to bring more life to this base. Just picture it. Hordes and hordes of villagers running around the dockyards here, probably 1,000 fishermen with all the barrels, making this place feel truly alive for the very first time. Because up to this point, it's just been me mostly running around doing all the stuff. I want to change that. This also means that I'm going to need places for these villagers to live and sleep, which means I may have to radically redesign some of these areas in the base. For instance, this section here, which I've used as a tree farming location, I think I might actually convert into either some farm fields so that the villagers can farm crops, feed themselves, and breed some more, and also potentially build some new buildings like little townhomes or apartment buildings. I have added a little section in here below my trading hall where I have given them some fields where they can harvest and plant crops once again so that they can feed themselves, make children, and grow their population. Oh, look, there's already a tiny one. Perfect. My master plan is already coming to fruition. Of course, a lot of these villagers I don't necessarily want to be fully free range. Like these guys with their books, they are going to have to be housed and kept safe somewhere. I don't want them dying on me. But other villagers are totally fine to wander around. I really don't care in some instances. So, what I will start with is finding a way for the baby villagers to escape from the employment office, but not get back in so that they can begin to slowly populate the base. And I think all I need to accomplish that are some trapdoors and pressure plates. So if I come around here, I think I can do something like this. Set up a trap door if I can get there. Keep that open, and then this way, when somebody tries to go in this way, it locks, but then stays open for the baby villagers to escape from the other side. This should hopefully mean no baby zombies come in that way, because this should be pretty instantaneous. Yeah, okay, that is perfect. That's locked from that side. Let's add a couple more things like that here. So that should slowly allow those babies to find their way out if they are smart enough to do so. What I think I should do next, though, is actually make more space down here. Clear up some of these profession blocks. Hopefully, allow the farmer villagers to focus on the farming instead of socializing with all the other people who want to come down here. And these profession blocks can be relocated to other areas around the base as I build some new buildings to accommodate them. But that makes a lot more space for some more beds and some more crop farms. And maybe I should also find some work for the other creatures that are in this employment office. Again, the whole point of even making this employment office was to bring life to the base, and I kind of just left them all here in limbo. But today they can rejoice. They are about to be employed forever in Scooter Industries. Will they be paid? Um, who knows? I don't know if I'm going to pay them. They can be paid in appreciation. Or heck, they'll be world famous because they are going to appear in this YouTube video. So they will have their own 15 seconds of fame on my tiny little channel. There, that should be enough to satisfy them, right? They don't actually need to be paid, right? They're not going to unionize, right? So I am going to finish the renovations in here, make a few more beds and crop farms, and get these guys sorted. I will be right back. And hopefully by then, we will have some more villagers in here. Wait for it. Wait for it. Let's try that again. Ow. Ah, there we go. That took far longer than I would like to admit, but it is important to get practice with the mace, especially now that there are Happy Ghasts. They make the perfect platform for dropping in on mobs unexpected. That is, if you know how to time things and hit things. But anyways, here we are. As you can clearly see, I've got a lot of colored wool frameworks for new buildings in this former tree farming area. In fact, let's go back up on this guy. You can get a better view from up here. This whole area is going to be transformed with new buildings, including row houses for villagers, some new factory-ish buildings and shops and things designed mainly with the villagers in mind, not so much myself. Most of the buildings in this industrial base all have some kind of actual practical purpose. Like there's the storage facility, it's raining, lovely storage facility. There's kelp farms and dripstone farms and gunpowder farms, which are all quite handy. But for the villagers, I really want to give them some places to work and sleep that feel like they belong to them. In fact, one of my favorite things in this game is building up villages, which I'm realizing I have not yet done in this single player world. So it's time to fix that. Now, these different buildings have color coded them in certain ways, but they don't necessarily mean that yellow is one type, green is a totally different type. I'm just going to build them organically as I work through this little area here. The one thing that I am planning, though, is for these blue sections, that's where I'm going to put in crop farms so that these villagers can continue to feed themselves and multiply. Ah, that's better. Now, speaking of multiplying, let's go back into here where I think the cats are being slowly pushed out by the villagers. Now, no baby villagers have actually gone through these yet. I suspect because they're probably too tall to reach under the trapdoor that I've put there, but that's fine. I'll leave it for now. But we do have baby villagers. This guy's got a nice coat. And if we come downstairs, lots of beds, lots of crops, and more baby villagers. Now, of course, I feel like I want way more than just this. My goal is to completely overpopulate this area with labor. I mean, people, villagers, inhabitants, citizens, future workers. But hopefully, once they have spread out and once they are in their homes with more beds, we will get more of these guys growing up. I imagine actually a lot of the villagers that we're seeing around here have already grown up, including these farmers, for instance. They clearly have not been traded with before. They are fresh. They're all jumping for joy. So I think it's working. I think I'm getting a lot more villagers in here than what I started with. The next thing I want to do is start separating out some of my villagers between the ones that are actually valuable to me and the entry level intern villagers. And those entry level ones can come out and work on the docks. And slowly, as I fill in the buildings behind me here, they can start to have new homes and new beds and new job sites, which will go a very long way to adding life to this base, which is, of course, the goal of all of this. You know what else is going to add a lot of new life to this base as well? Copper golems. Because as of the time of this recording, Mojang just announced yesterday that in the fall, they are adding copper golems to the game, finally. And they'll be able to sort items and take items out of copper chests and put them into regular chests. I think they have a very, very bright future here at Scooter Industries. So more on that in the future, of course, but I'm very excited about this. They are going to fit in perfectly in this base. But in the meantime, villagers. I've got to get the villagers to work before I start replacing them with advanced robotics. Now, to begin, I think I'm going to start down on the lower levels and slowly work my way up. This way I can prioritize putting in some of the crop farms here, build some simple villager housing in the magenta sections, and start moving in some of the new villagers, and hopefully they will continue to multiply and spread throughout the area and not get their faces eaten by zombies, hopefully. All of the fence around this section here is going to be removed, of course. That's going to be replaced by the walls of the buildings that are going in. There might be some sections like here where it remains for at least a little while just to keep those villagers from wandering off into the forest and getting their faces eaten by zombies. But let's get started. I'm going to tear down the wool itself, put up some frames, build some buildings, and then I will show you guys once I have something to show you. Be right back. Hello, everybody. As you can see down below, we have our first section of villager housing fully installed, and we have villagers starting to run around on the base, making themselves at home. So let's go down and take a closer look. So coming in here, you can see I've redone the road. I've taken out the old uh, packed mud path and switched it to the standard road design in the base. And now there's a stairwell that leads all the way down to the dock area here. And we have got villagers, including lots of baby villagers. They're multiplying like rabbits. And these are their houses, which are allowing them to multiply like rabbits. Big wheat fields in the middle. And on the inside, it's very Spartan, utilitarian, low budget. Just 4 beds in each unit, which I believe works out to a total of 16 units, 16 times 4. I'm supposed to know how to do math. I cannot do it in my head, though, while recording. You can figure it out. Needless to say, it is a lot of beds, and we are getting a lot of villagers because all of these ones are essentially the babies that have been escaping from the employment office. I switched the design here, removed the trapdoor, and instead put a piston, which just like that prevents anyone from going back in, but doesn't have the same issue where the babies couldn't actually walk out. So we've got some fishermen villagers starting to pop out, all the farmer ones you saw up there, and on the inside, absolute chaos. You see, I've decided to put them all in boats to make them easier to uh, deal with and move around and separate. But there are a lot of them. I think what I can do is potentially just drag them right through the doorway on leads, or also I can open up the skylight here and airlift them out using a Happy Ghast. And if I can make it through make it through the craziness here. Downstairs, there are still some villagers, and they are still making more. I also have villagers starting to enter the warehouse and just wandering around. So I'll have to find out something to do with them. I've also got some villagers in some bizarre places, and they're probably going to need some rescuing. Like this guy wandering through the sorting system. This one's stuck on the roof of the employment office. These guys, who apparently climbed the ladder to get up into this fenced off area, and a growing number of villagers who have found themselves stuck behind the retaining wall on the side of the warehouse here. So let's do something about that. So the first fix is easy enough. I think if I just break those walls here, these guys should be able to find their way out. Next, let's see if we can get the guy who's stuck in our storage system. Here's the boat. Okay, perfect. And let's just bring this one out this way. There we go. Minimal damage. You know what? You can just wander down here. Next, it's you. Over here, please. You know what? This one might need some help. Okay, come a little closer. Here we are. Let's airlift this guy to a better location. There we go. You can come on down like that. And hopefully I can... Here, if I sit in this boat, the gas will fly away. The lead should break. Perfect. And there we go. You're welcome. And now the next task of getting some of these villagers outside. I want to put the more valuable villagers, like the librarians, over into the empty section in the warehouse here, just to keep them safe. And that should allow all of the other ones to wander freely around the base. And I imagine I'm very quickly going to learn just how not villager safe this whole place is. Oh, hi. It's kind of like childproofing a home. You can only ever do so much. You guys can come through over here. Oh, what are you getting stuck on? There we go. Carpet, of course. So you can come right over here. And this really is where I begin to question some of my life choices. But it's worth it. Having free-range villagers is totally, absolutely worth it, right? Please tell me it's worth it. And there, 4 boats down. Only 1,000 more to go. As you can see, I've got my work cut out for me. So I'm going to leave that problem for a little bit later, another time. For now, I just want to talk a little bit more about what the plans are for up here. So I've cleared out a lot of the floor so that I can put in the proper paths and interior flooring and everything like that. These buildings will be next, slowly working my way up from the bottom up through to the top, so that over time this whole section will be the heart of where the villagers are gathered around, but there should be enough of them over time to really fill in all of the areas around the docks and the base. I've even put in some beds over here in the kelp factory in the hopes that some villagers will come up here and take up the whatever profession is related to the smoker so that I can sell them dried kelp, because I have a lot of dried kelp coming in through this thing. I might just need to airlift some of them over in this direction. But already, after just a little bit of work, this base is feeling far more alive than it ever has before. And with these changes, the base is going in a dramatically different direction. You see, instead of just an industrial base, like a factory setting where I alone am sitting working by myself with a few allays to keep me company, now this is truly turning into an industrial town with housing provided by the company. Company housing, very uniform, very bland, just the way I like it. I mean, like, not for my own house. My own house over there is pretty nice and a little rustic and unique. The villagers don't need that, though, right? Speaking of villagers, I guess they found their way out the door. Oh boy. Is anyone still left inside downstairs in the basement? A handful. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yep, they're still working. Very good. Maybe I'll just close that for now. But that is where I am going to sign off for today. I've got a lot more buildings to build. I've got a lot more villagers to assign to various jobs. And I do want to get this video out to you guys in a timely manner. I've been doing some vacationing lately, celebrating Canada Day. Happy Canada Day. So I haven't had as much time to record as I might have liked. But once again, the base has got whole new direction. I've got a lot of ideas. I can't wait to show you all the other things that I'm going to build in the area here. And it's not all going to be villagers. I do have some ideas for a terraforming factory and some other similar related things. So lots of big stuff to come in the future. If you haven't already, please subscribe so that you get to see it, because I'd hate for you to watch all this and then not get to see the future progress. And honestly, if you've made it to this point in the video, you probably don't mind seeing more videos from me. So again, hit that button. I think there's also a bell thingamajigger that lets you get notifications when I do post a video. That might be nice. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.